All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are breaking down Tim Wu's incredible book, The Attention Merchants. It's all about this epic, 200-year-old scramble to get inside our heads and, you guessed it, capture our attention. So let me start with a question. One I'm pretty sure you've asked yourself. Why is it so ridiculously hard to put your phone down? You know the feeling, right? You pick it up to check one little thing, and poof, an hour is just gone. You feel that magnetic pull, that constant itch to check notifications, to scroll just a little bit more. Well, here's the big idea. The main takeaway from all this. It's not entirely your fault. Seriously, that constant feeling of being distracted, that low-key anxiety from the never-ending flood of information, it's not an accident. It's the direct result of a business model that has been fine-tuned for the last 2 centuries. So let's get right to the heart of it. The core of this entire system, this whole industry, is based on one simple, incredibly powerful idea. Your attention is a product. It's a commodity, a resource that's being bought and sold every single minute of every single day. But why is it so valuable? Well, to get that, we have to understand what attention really is. The Russian educator Ushinsky had this amazing quote, calling it the only portal to our soul. I mean, just think about that for a second. Anything that gets into our brain, an idea, a product, a message, anything, it has to come through that one single doorway. So for a merchant, getting control of that doorway, that's the ultimate prize. So where did this whole crazy idea of selling attention even start? For that, we've got to jump in our time machine and go all the way back to the 19th century, to the birth of what was basically the original free luncheon media. Okay, so picture this. It's the early 1830s. Newspapers are kind of a luxury item. They cost about 6 cents a copy, which was a lot back then. But in 1833, this publisher, Benjamin Day, has a totally game-changing idea. He launches a paper called the New York Sun for just 1 penny. He was basically tapping into this powerful human weakness we all have. We love a good deal. We love that feeling of getting a free lunch. And wow, did it work? People swarmed to his paper, and he built a massive audience almost overnight. And right there, he created the simple, 2-step business model that defines our world today. Step 1, you grab a huge audience with something cheap, or even better, free. Step 2, you take all that collected attention, all those eyeballs, and you resell it to advertisers. That's it. That's the formula. It became the foundation for pretty much all modern media, from radio and TV all the way to Google and Facebook. And you know what happens when someone strikes gold, right? Everyone else rushes in. Once that model was proven to work, it kicked off this immediate, intense competition. It became a full-blown arms race, an arms race for our eyeballs. And it just got crazier and crazier throughout the 20th century. To win this race, the tactics got pretty extreme. Newspapers would publish almost anything to grab a reader. And get this is a real headline from back then. One paper claimed that large, winged creatures had been discovered living on the moon. It sounds completely nuts to us now, but back then, it was sensational, and it sold a ton of papers. Now let's fast forward to today. Does this sound at all familiar? The celebrity sex scandals you absolutely need to know about. The technology has changed, sure, but the playbook, it's exactly the same. Stir up excitement, create conflict, dish out some juicy gossip. These have been the tried and true tools for attention merchants for centuries. But you can only push it so far before people start to push back. The first big public backlash happened in the early 20th century. An explosive investigative article called The Great American Fraud exposed how these patent medicine companies were selling totally toxic, useless junk through super deceptive ads. The public was outraged, and it led to new government regulations and a decades-long depression for the entire advertising industry. So this cat-and-mouse game between the merchants and the public went on for decades, and it set the stage for the biggest, most effective attention harvest in human history, the internet. You see, the internet didn't just join the arms race, it basically perfected the entire model. Think about it. Early online ads were terrible, right? Annoying pop-ups everywhere. But then Google came along and just cracked the code with AdWords. The genius was the timing. Instead of interrupting you with a random ad, Google showed you a relevant ad at the exact moment you were looking for something. You search for a problem and boom, there's an ad for a solution. And since advertisers only paid when someone actually clicked, it felt like a win-win for everybody. And then came social media. And this is where things got really wild. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram did something truly radical. They didn't just harvest our attention, they turned us into attention merchants. All of a sudden, every single one of us had the tools to build a personal brand, to gather followers, and to chase our own little slice of that advertising money. But of course, this all came at a price. To make their ad targeting insanely effective, these platforms developed tracking technologies on a scale nobody had ever seen before. As Tim Wu so perfectly puts it, these technologies evolved to a point that would have made a Soviet-era spy blush. Our personal data, our clicks, our likes, that became the fuel for this hyper-efficient attention economy. So, here we are living in this world of constant information overload. The big question is, what can we actually do about it? How do we fight back? Let's talk about how to start reclaiming your own mind.
Honestly, the first and most powerful step is just awareness. Just knowing that there is a constant, invisible battle for your attention is half the fight right there. And you have to understand, this isn't just about being distracted. Real information overload can cause genuine anxiety and a loss of self-control. So the solution has to start with consciously taking that control back. This means setting real boundaries, not just managing your time, but fiercely protecting it. Try scheduling specific, non-negotiable offline hours into your day, just like you'd schedule a meeting. The goal isn't to ditch technology completely, but to be the one who decides when and how you engage with it.
When you zoom out, this whole 200-year history isn't really about newspapers or pop-up ads or social media apps. It's about the most finite, precious resource we have, our own focus. For centuries, merchants have just been getting smarter and smarter about how to claim it. So the real question for all of us isn't just what we'll pay attention to anymore, it's who we will allow to pass through that portal to our soul.